Herat falls to the Egyptian, Mosul starves. The prophecies of Ali ibn Abi Talib regarding the end of times for the eastern lands begin not with a warning, but with absolute ruin. The texts map out the campaign of a military leader known as the Sufyani. His march carves a violent path across the Levant and Mesopotamia. The earliest major battles ignite in Homs, then push through Aleppo and Al-Raqqa, across Ras al-Ain and Nisibis, before finally choking the region at Mosul. When the army descends on Mosul, the texts describe it as a slaughterhouse. 70,000 fall in the initial clashes, followed by another 60,000 executions. The targets are specific. The Sufyani actively hunts down and kills anyone bearing the names of the Prophet Muhammad's family: Ali, Hassan, Hussein, Fatima, driven by deep-seated malice. The prophecies outline a complete breakdown of physical infrastructure. Villages are swept away by winds. Cities are leveled by lightning strikes, and surviving populations are hollowed out by hunger and inflated prices. But the Eastern campaign eventually hits a wall. The Mahdi mobilizes his own armies to counter this wave, clashing with the King of the Romans near Al-Raqqa. The ensuing battle is so dense and vicious that the waters of the Euphrates River change with blood, and the banks are left choked with the dead. Broken by the Mahdi's forces, the King of the Romans retreats westward, finally pinned in Antioch. Defeated, he is forced to pay a tribute, effectively ending his campaign and remaining under strict obedience. When you map out the texts covering the eastern lands, a clear pattern emerges. Their role in the end times is defined by a relentless, violent cleansing, a rapid wave of physical destruction that wipes the region clean. Look further south, however, and the narrative changes. In the text known as the Jafr of Ali, Egypt, referred to as the Kanana, is given a distinct, protected promise. The fate of the Egyptians is markedly different from the rapid annihilation seen in the East. Their trial is internal and prolonged. The Jafr outlines an era of deep political instability. Rulers act immorally, treacherous factions betray the state, and leaders rise who lack a clear path or sense of direction. The texts even point to a military leader killed while on the throne of his army. Beyond the political chaos, the Egyptians face severe external threats. A hostile force stationed in the south wages a secret war against them, attempting to sabotage the lifeblood of the nation by pouring plagues and death directly into the Nile. As the physical environment deteriorates, so does the spiritual one. The prophecies describe a time where grand mosques multiply across the landscape, yet the number of people actually bowing and prostrating inside them decreases. Egypt is not condemned to a quick death by the sword. Instead, they are locked into an agonizing, slow-burn crucible, a period of intense pressure meant to test their patience and forge their spiritual resilience over generations. The breaking point of this long suffering arrives with a figure called the Companion of Egypt. After years of enduring these same brutal trials in deep obscurity alongside the common people, he finally steps forward. The Jafr records a list of specific traits assigned to this figure. He is described as having a pleasant face, a sharp gaze, and whiteness in his beard. The texts identify him as having the heart of Hassan and the head of Muhammad. Noting a precise detail, he changes the name of his grandfather. Stepping out from a long silence, his initial actions are decisive. The prophecies state he opens the Cave of Secrets, calling for vengeance and raising a black banner to mobilize his people. His primary function isn't conquest, but healing. The Companion works to loosen the bonds holding his nation back, mend the deep societal rifts, and vindicate his people. He effectively awakens the Egyptian populace from what the texts describe as a deep, death-like slumber. Under his leadership, the fractured society is pulled back together. He gathers the scattered people and mends the rifts within the nation, turning a population once held in shackles into a force ready for the march. Once awakened, the long waiting period ends. The forces of the Kanana mobilize, fully throwing their weight behind the Mahdi. The Jafr explicitly notes that Egypt will march as his extended support, operating as the right wing of his army. Their mobilization carries a violent physical momentum. The texts state the soldiers of Egypt will break the neck of their lying enemy and pierce the borders into the Blessed Land. This march fulfills a direct promise recorded by Ali ibn Abi Talib. The text commands, "Give glad tidings to the people of Egypt that they will enter Jerusalem, and for them, with Jerusalem, is an appointment." This is the sacred target that grounds their entire military campaign. The Companion of Egypt paves the way, laying down his authority in this exact space and returning the light to the holy city. The instruction for the believers in this moment is visceral. The text demands that when the Mahdi knocks on your doors, you must reach him by any means necessary, even if you have to fly through the clouds or crawl and creep on your hands and knees across the snow. The generations of instability and trial were the prerequisite for this moment. According to the Jafr, the people of the Kanana were stationed in the path through their suffering, and their survival through that crucible is what allows their brokenness to be mended, finally, at the gates of the Holy House.